Hello, Mr. Bond.
Hello. I've been waiting for you.
Meow.
What's it gonna be? The tar pit
Wait.
or the glass box?
No, instead
Bond.
we're gonna shave your armpits with a rusty razor, and you're gonna have lots of ingrown hairs.
Oh,
No.
that hurts.
Good morning. Sorry, that was super weird.
Monday morning, guys. Gotta
Wow.
do
Welcome
whatever
to
we need.
crypto. Welcome to Crypto and Coffee, where we hodl. Those are the moon. We we drink about crypto and we talk about coffee, and also we talk about crypto and drink about coffee. So pick whichever one you like. You can. No, so I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I'm a dork and I apologize for that. Hope you like it. If you don't, too bad. We're looking at the Bitcoin charts. We have some interesting stories. And also, if you're new to the channel or if you're not and you're just tired and sleepy eyed, no big deal. We have a thing called roll calls. So make sure you say good morning in the chat. We'll give you a shout out before we get into our stories for the day. But first off, we're going to get into our price action. Yeah, little price action situation.
Yes. We're coming to a head end by tomorrow.
We are. Tomorrow's stupid exciting. It's just for us, like what happens chart wise, and Jaime he'll blab about that, and you'll be like, wow. So looking at the global markets, you can see we had a little uptick right here, a little uptick in just global crypto market cap. So that's kind of the context. We have this plateau we're on though, where we sunk deep right in, the 10th of February or so. And then we kind of had this plateau and we kind of haven't broken in up or down significantly. And that's okay. Looking at the big picture though in crypto, that's what it looks like right now. So when you zoom into like 2020 and beyond, we're in a bear market. That's what people mean when they say that. Hey, we're in a bear market. They mean we're not up here at these tippy tops. We're down here in these trenches. That being said, if you scoop in these trenches, when we do return to these levels or higher, you're sitting pretty. That's not a bad position to be in. You were able to actually accumulate some meaningful wealth. So if you're new to the space, you probably bought in when the prices were high.
I did.
This is your first time.
My first time.
This is your first time to buy when the prices are right, because you could, as a visionary, see where the space is going, right? And even in a bear market, we're still here talking about this, not because we're get rich quick, but because we believe this is a long-term viable tool stack, right? Like Bitcoin created protocol for Web3, and this is going to be something that truly changes the way people interface with technology, right?
There's and no don't take our word for it. Take the institutions, take all the builders' words for it. They are building. This industry is growing despite the bear market. This is the time where we bear fruits, ladies and gentlemen.
Too real. So, whipping this out, looking at the whole space, knowing that we kind of have this plateau, you can see this reflected in price action. We had a little uptick. This little uptick started with Bitcoin. Bitcoin rises all the ships. If Bitcoin goes up, the whole market kind of goes up. Bitcoin goes down, the whole market kind of goes down. We don't really have big altcoin seasons until Bitcoin has a rally and people take profits and pump their favorite altcoins. That's typically how this works. So Bitcoin is up at still under 24K at 23.7. So 2.4% pump in the last 24 days.
Hours.
Making sure you're listening. Yes. Ethereum, again, copycats Bitcoin, had a higher pump for no good reason at all. Except for Solana. Had a little poop in the bed. He kind of got excited and started running around the bed and waking the whole family up. Be like, what's this dog on about? It's 3:00 in the morning. There's a cute little turd underneath your sheets and it's cold. It's been there for a while.
And the moment you saw him, he was dragging his ass across your carpet. It's not a good
By the way, I just testified to what happened to me the other day. My little dog Shoopy did that. Not even kidding. I was like, what's she on about? There's poop in my bed. Kids these days. So so she's not allowed there anymore. Everything else, little tiny blips, not even a single percent, and that's okay. Yeah. Solana, we have a big story about Solana today. 2.3% up still. Interesting. Yes. Polkadot, about the same deal. Litecoin, why does it even exist except for Bitcoin testing?
Hey, there's a purpose for it.
Anyway, so not super exciting, and that's okay. I don't need exciting every day. If it was exciting every day, you wouldn't be able to trade the markets very well.
Precisely.
So this is my Bitcoin chart. Okay, so we zoom out. You can see we had a big party. We're testing this little rally we had though, this 20K rally. We ripped right past it. And back when that happened, I was kind of pissed off. Like really, I was mad because I was like, Bitcoin, you can't do this because we didn't test any of these levels yet. You can't just rip on through, and it did
Yeah.
anyways. And so I was just like, I don't even know how to trade this. So I don't know if you experienced that too, Jaime, but
Oh,
man,
heck yeah. I wanted my Bitcoin cheap, get it down
dude,
there.
that pissed me off. I was like 16, unprecedented. Keeps going. So I'm like, oh my. So just understanding that there's other factors in this space people don't account for. That
Precisely, and no news is good news, as our Indo crypto mentioned. I'm still hoping for a double bottom. So, uh, and we'll dive deep into it on the possibilities. Not
yeah.
it's a sure thing, but the possibilities. We'll discuss that in a second. And
So you can see though. Go ahead.
the roll calls. We have a few in this morning, Monday morning. Morning Indo crypto, Michael Eclectic, Wendell and Gilliam, Boss Don CEO. Good morning, guys. It's great seeing you this Monday morning. All the builders are present. It's a
What up?
pleasure
What
and
up?
an honor to have you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Jaime, we all have ADHD, and it's a beautiful thing. So we like ripped past these prices though. It really freaked me out, and we didn't test them until like here. Once we tested, we didn't even test them. We just ripped on up. Like
Yes, we
you see
did.
this right here. As soon as we flirted with this peak, look what happened. All we did is freaking yeeted up to freaking 70K. It's like why? Like
It was
you know
fast.
why? Because Bitcoin do what Bitcoin gonna do. You just
That's
gotta
right. You can't tell Bitcoin what to do.
and we retrace and it's like okay yeehaw, how far are we retracing? Well, we retraced to this little stack, right? It didn't even, it tapped and ripped back up and tested this again. Like it's like your drunk uncle who wants to go outside and play tackle football. Like it's just like
You
oh
know
my
he's
goodness.
tipsy.
Yeah, so knowing that, okay, that context, you see up here, we still haven't tested this band right here for crap. So it's actually necessary that what's happening is happening right now. This whole
Yes.
16 to 25K, yeah, we haven't freaking touched that. Everything you see, like how, forgive me, I don't even have a line here, but like, damn it, go down here, bad. So yeah, you see right here how we actually have like some touch, almost touch. So that's at like 10.5.
Yes.
Okay. So between 10.5 and 16, we don't have very much history at all,
No.
which means Bitcoin actually has to spend a little time there or print a level higher than that where it doesn't have to go down. And so what we're doing right now is making sure that this support level at 16 or 15.5 or so actually holds, because if it doesn't, we have to go down to this 10 or so level or near it.
Yeah, it's the rocky bottom, guys. It's where there's some foundation structure that we know can hold. It doesn't mean it'll do it. Just these are the probabilities we're discussing.
Yeah. So after the Luna poo poo, when Luna took a big old dump, big old red
Hmm.
dump, you can see we tested these levels. We banged off this twice, like I said we would, and we ripped down here, and we bounced off this again too. So maybe it holds. If it doesn't, we're gonna see 21. If it doesn't, we're probably gonna see 18.5 or so. Now this goes without saying. This is my own personal opinion. This is speculation. This is not financial advice.
Do your own
So
research,
you
guys.
call your own mama if you want some financial advice, because she'll give it to you.
But if we do go down, do this so the branches don't hit you in the face, okay?
Yeah,
And have
cover
your
your
buys ready.
eyes in the back of your neck. Yeah. So Jaime has a little
Yes.
advice.
So what we're watching at this moment, which is what we
Mhm.
mentioned last week and called your attention to it, is this 50 moving average. Again, just to remind you, and I'm on the monthly time frame. The monthly time frame is a very important time frame because it takes a lot of money to fake anything out on the monthly. So it's an entire market making decisions, and usually they're aligned. So in this case, you'll see that historically, Bitcoin has not uh, closed below the 50 moving average in its history. Previous bear market, the last bear market, even the wick down we had during the COVID crash, it did not close below. This bear market is the first time we are below the 50 moving average. And we had the Luna collapse right here. And then we had the FTX collapse right here. And we rallied right back up to that point. And in this case, and this is what we're watching very carefully, is once the rally occurred, we passed the 50, but closed below it in January. This month, we have a spinning top up here, which shows indecision. If you're learning, Investopedia is a good source, or you go to any of these YouTubers, the reliable ones that came from the trading profession, like Don Francho, Gareth Soloway, the guys that know what they're doing. You'll see that this is a indecision candle. Here's the decision Bitcoin has to make by tomorrow. That's Wednesday, Tuesday night. Tuesday night, we are to see if Bitcoin closes below the 50 moving average or just above it. If it's below, we're confirming this, the 50 moving average, as a ceiling, as a resistance we will not break through. And that's when those levels I have marked, Brandon has marked, and so many others have marked in terms of their buys to enter. If we close above this, which is around the price we're at today, around 23,700, if we close above, then we're confirming it as it's not confirmed. We will close above it. So now the big question is, will we wick right back down, or do we continue moving up? Where is the next level on the monthly? We're looking at around $31,000, or wicking up to the 21 moving average, which is sitting at 34,000 on the monthly level. So those are the two possibilities, and it will be defined by tomorrow's close on where we will go. So let me move into the weekly, which is the same time frame that Brandon was showing us. And we've delved deep into this. We ran up to the 200 moving average, which is an important one. We had the death cross last 2 weeks ago, and we confirmed it. We wicked up to the 200 twice, and now it seems we are staying just below the 50 moving average, and that one is sitting at around 24,000. So this, you can see there's a lot. We have a weekly resistance, and then we have a monthly resistance up here around the 29,000 level, which is very close to the previous leg down. So we've had three massive leg downs down here, where we have all that above us. So that's what we're watching. Tomorrow, it'll let us know what is going to happen, or the probabilities of what happens next. You're going to hear in Twitter and other places that we may hit the $30,000 mark by the end of March, or we may be hitting the bottom of Bitcoin by the end of March. But March is going to be a decisive month because that will dictate what happens the rest of the year. So, and in March, there's quite a few things happening, where the case of the SEC against XRP and a few others, are they securities? Are they not? Everything except for Bitcoin. It's really interesting times we're going to be watching. Internally, I believe we may pull back and hopefully hit my buy targets. But in the end, the monthly closing will truly let us know what happens for March. And there's quite a few decisions, even in our building with Brandon and the team, where we will have decisions to be made due to price action. So it's exciting times. And I see Savvy Money Show just joined us. Thank you for that. Hit the like button, guys. Good reminder.
What's up, boy? Or girl? I don't know, but I'm showing you respect either way. I see you.
Beautiful. And that's it. So tomorrow will be interesting. Wednesday morning, we're going to have a lot to talk about and on price action and where we're headed and where the probabilities are taking us at that point. So we will see you on Wednesday. Hump day.
Hump day. Yeah, we gotta pull in the YouTube if you want to participate in that. Just trying to get a feel for where people are at. But I'm gonna start going over the reckoning. Okay, the reckoning. So I'm just gonna hit it with the big news.
Let's do it.
Because I'm feeling that way today. You understand?
Spicy. Hey,
Yeah,
let's face Mondays head on, guys. Let's not.
I am a spicy boy. You're so spicy. So
Yes.
little Solana. We've talked about Solana some. We have mixed feelings about Solana. Solana's kind of like that girl we used to date. We still think she's cool, but don't know if we want to hang out with her anymore.
Yes, because we were actually building in this direction also. So
like she might be a good girl. She might have learned from her mistakes, but she also might cheat on you. You don't know.
Yeah. Or guy if it's the other way around. So
Yeah.
for Wendelin and Tamp and all our girls out there.
I'm just saying that that S kind of looks a little feminine to me, a little curvy, But anyways, Solana validator to make second restart attempt as transaction freeze drags on. So basically, Solana had a network upgrade, and we're gonna read about it, but some things didn't go like they thought it would.
Yes.
And so we're just gonna educate ourselves. We're not gonna throw mud at them,
Right.
but we're also gonna read about it and make up our
Yes.
own minds.
Just
So
like Windows, we understand the blue screen of death. Let's not. Hopefully, we don't see this blue or these chain stops on this blockchain.
aren't we glad we got better than Windows XP though, man? That beat me up. That thing blue screen anytime you did anything. It's like half my day was just chilling with the blue screen. So let's read the news. ADHD hype. So the Solana network deep freeze continued Saturday as the validators were preparing a second restart attempt that they hoped would restore service to users of the blockchain. By evening New York time, validators running Solana's infrastructure had long since concluded that the best way to write the chain would be to synchronize a restart and fork the chain. What the hell? That is turn it off and back on again.
Yeah, like replace the damn operating system when you fork it.
Yeah. A first attempt was abandoned when validators realized they picked the wrong point at which to restart. Oh no. Further lengthening the delay. The problems that started as sluggish transaction processing have spiraled into a near complete shutdown of activity on Solana, validators and developers told CoinDesk. The chain's block production has ceased and transactions are not being processed or being validated.
That means if you're selling your NFTs, if you're doing any transaction on the Solana chain, it ain't happening. That's serious stuff, guys. So, yeah, it's not a restart or reboot or control alt delete here.
Yeah. Also, this isn't really a reason to necessarily shame Solana. This is a big experiment. I think everybody needs to focus on the fact that, like, even if an experiment fails, we owe them a debt of gratitude because we learn from those failures, and hopefully we can prevent ourselves from repeating that same scenario in other chains. So please reserve criticism here, but just observe what things are worth you building on top of because it's stable or not, right? That's all we're looking at. So for users of the chain, it means they can't, right? They can't process transactions. Their on-chain crypto assets are unmovable, frozen in place until critical backend infrastructure comes online, and it will. There's too much money behind this, too much desire for people to get this back up and running. It will be back up. Hours into the crisis, key voices in the Solana ecosystem were still looking to identify a culprit. One leading theory was that a fat block gunked up the blockchain's mechanics. I hate that word. A fat block gunked up. Ugh.
It's like a heart attack.
It's like the word curmudgeon. I hate that word. Or moist. I hate that word. Those are gross words. So notably, the network was moving to an upgraded version shortly before its troubles began. At press time, validators working in conjunction with developers at Solana Labs were again attempting to restart the chain and had gotten some 70% of the total stake behind the move. The network needs an 80% supermajority to proceed. And it should. I mean, that's actually good consensus mechanisms, right? If you're making like big network changes that requires
Yes.
a supermajority, that's good.
You need consensus. You need the entire
Mhm.
network to agree, or a huge portion of it, so it can move on.
Yeah. So that was one story on this. I want us to look at a few ones just to see what the painting is. So Solana Network stumbles on-chain trading slows after forking incident. So so this is CoinDesk reports. So infrastructure operators on the Solana network rushed to the right or rushed to right the struggling blockchain early Saturday after a tech issue throttled the user's ability to trade crypto, transfer assets, or do anything on the chain. The
Yes.
blockchain started forking, creating conflicting versions of its transaction history at around 53 New York time, according to the Solana Discord server. So that's where they got that information from for the
Yes.
other article too. Shortly after, the validator's RAM began increasing while the chain's transaction throughput fell off a cliff. Oh, no.
So it was stuck.
Oh, that
So
is
a fat block. I think that's where it came from. It was consuming all their RAM. Couldn't move
that's what
forward.
that's what I would assume too, just from, as an architect. So those tech troubles combined to effectively freeze nearly all on-chain activity on the Solana network. By 2 o'clock, the network was processing about 93 transactions per second. Oh no,
Yeah.
crawl baby, crawl. Well below the rate near 5,000, right? That's what it typically runs at, 5,000 transactions per second, some 15 minutes prior, according to the data site Solana Explorer. Yeah, that hurts. It was
Yeah.
a crisis reminiscent of the chain's rocky tech incidents in 2022 when a
Mhm.
series of halts and slowdowns prompted reforms to how Solana manages inbound traffic. Saturday's incident had no immediate culprit, though validator operators and network engineers suspect a bug in the new version of Solana's code that had come online hours before.
Mhm.
Shoutouts to Codebug. I see you. That's a joke. You're not even watching. I'm talking about you. Uh, Without a definite bug to squash, some validators began downgrading to the previous versions in hopes of reviving Solana's throughput, said the pseudonymous Soulblaze, who runs a liquid staking pool and is active in developer circles. Later, Solana employees began advocating for the downgrade too.
Yep.
Within hours, a supermajority of validators had switched back to the old software in their attempt to restore Solana's operations, but it did little to solve the still unknown problem that was weighing down performance. The effort then turned to a more drastic solution, restarting the chain to the point immediately prior to forking. Yeah. So keep in mind, this entire time it's down, like it's stacking up more issues, right? It
Yes.
like
Yes.
so
It's a train, guys. The carts
yeah.
behind you do not stop.
Yeah. So if the front crashes and the back is still pushing, like you
Yeah.
gotta figure out a way
Yeah.
to clear the blockage or you're gonna
Yes.
see even more damage. So, coordinating a restart attempt means that the chain will be offline completely, which is always the last resort. So, there's a lot we can glean from this. One, the last resort is we can turn the shit off and turn it back on again, right? That's
Yes.
obviously not ideal. If we have like proper redundancy and actually, I'm curious to see if this even has a possibility of happening on Tezos, because the way Tezos functions is it is a self-upgrading protocol. Like, so some
Mhm.
people from Ethereum specifically created Tezos to resolve this whole forking issue after they saw it on Ethereum. They're like, we got to make a better plan here. So, Tezos, for example, it does support NFTs. It does support smart contracts. It has a very similar architecture to Ethereum and Polygon, but it approaches it very differently. All of the validators basically have a consensus mechanism where it basically creates like test chains and it'll make sure it works right, and people vote on whether it should even be tested, right?
Mhm.
And if it is tested and it has a problem, it just slips it out and puts someone else as the validator. And if it tests it and it's good, it adds it to even more nodes. And so it basically it does self-piloting and self promoting of good, changes to their blockchain. And what's cool about that is it doesn't actually require people to actively work on like installing patches and that type of thing. They actively participate in voting, and then other than that, you just keep your node up and running, and it takes care of
Everything else.
the whole chain. So I'd like to see some other chains start adopting some of these things we've seen work on some quieter chains like Tezos, um, and I think we could avoid this type of problem from happening.
Do you know if they have a test net?
Yeah,
They should, right?
they do,
Yeah.
but the difference is like the testnet doesn't have the throughput that your main chain has. So if this was like a memory issue, it might not have been tripped unless you had
In
the volume that you have on mainnet. So
Yep. Yeah.
so we live in an interesting world, don't we? So it looks like they were being really responsible about getting it up and running. They tried everything they could just to like rip the band-aid off, but it turned out to actually literally need brain surgery. Just turn it off, turn it back on again, right? So that sucks. I hope
It
they
does.
learn a lot from this and prevent that type of thing from happening again, because I think Solana has a big ecosystem, lots of developers, and especially if they double down on true decentralization, which wasn't their goal initially. Jaime, you and I have talked about this in recent days, but basically Solana, when they first started, they were like, this is controversial, but they're like, we prioritize the quality of like the service over the decentralization. I'm like, maybe do we have to compromise is my question.
Right.
But they chose to, just to make sure that they had the best infrastructure for people to actually develop on, improve the value of that network, right? So interesting. They have on roadmap to push it into a truly decentralized state. I am curious to know how serious that is and if there's any backdoors or that type of thing. Not to be conspiratorial, I don't have reason to think there is, but I always, just as a security ops person,
Trust but verify.
As a security operations, I always look at what could be the case, and then I look for ways that I can actually validate whether that is or isn't the case. And unfortunately, this does mean combing through a lot of code. A lot of code. So
and there's so many other organizations that are beginning on the centralized with a centralized network. And of course, why? Because you want to retain, like if you're a builder, you want to retain as much control as you can, because if there is a problem that runs away from you and is decentralized, it's going to be very hard to fix. But the big question is, will you fulfill your word down the road to decentralize it? And what that means is uncensorable, not under the domain of one single key that can change everything or override, do bad things. So that's the importance of decentralization.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. And that being said, that makes Bitcoin even more impressive. The fact that Bitcoin was actually launched and hasn't had a single one of these issues. Now, I understand Bitcoin is a much more simplified blockchain. It's not trying to do a lot of application level stuff. It's literally just doing transactions. And of course, you have like your, well, it's not it. You have message headers also. Like you can, just for example, one of the Bitcoin devs has his picture in like ASCII text on a block, right? So you can put like messages on Bitcoin as well, but they're small text. So that being said, Bitcoin has a very limited scope, and because it has a limited scope, they felt confident it was tested enough that they could kick it out into the future, and it would just persist. It wouldn't have issues. It would truly be decentralized from the get. It would do its whole every 4 years halving thing, and that's why Bitcoin truly is its own category. It no other blockchain has the history Bitcoin does. No other blockchain has the level of hash rate Bitcoin does. As far as a store of value, it is in a unique class of its own, and people should see it as that. I know when you're on like Binance or these different
KuCoin.
No, I was gonna say
The chains?
the one I don't use anymore, Coinbase.
Oh.
It's a joke. So no, really, I don't use Coinbase. So when you're looking on these and you see like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, all these different coins, right? It's easy for you coming into the space to be like, well, I was introduced to them all at the same time, so they all must be on the same platform. Well, they're not. Bitcoin has existed far beyond the rest of them. It's focused. It works like it says it does. So the thing we need to pay attention to is that other chains that do smart contracts, NFTs, and eventually soulbound tokens, and all these other applications on the space, that's a totally different use case. That's the equivalent of being like expecting your bicycle to work consistently every single time you ride it, and there's very few moving parts on a bicycle. We know how bikes work, versus expecting like your 1963 Barracuda or something to work correctly. I don't even know if Barracudas were in 1963. I think they were. But you see my point. Like if you have like a really old carbureted vehicle, like yeah, it can go freaking fast. It sounds amazing. It smells great, but it also has a lot of bells and whistles that the bike doesn't have, and it might break down and might be more expensive and complicated to fix, right? So it's that concept of we're dealing with different categories here, and we shouldn't just slap them all into the same bucket and say that they're all good investments, right?
Right.
So we're going to talk about Jerry Gensler. Joke. His name's Gary. You ever watch The Office? Jerry, Gary. He always has different names. It's like that. So, whoopah. So SEC chair. This is Crypto Potato. Shout out to Crypto Potato. SEC chair reasserts every crypto is a security aside from Bitcoin. Oh,
can't let it go, can he?
Wow. Lawyers disagree. We'll see. Gensler reasserted his opinion. His opinion. It's my opinion, man. That all crypto transactions aside from Bitcoin fall under securities law. Lawyers tend to disagree. Gary Gensler, his recent interview with New York Mag has ruffled feathers across the crypto industry again. Ooh, ruffle my feathers, baby. The SEC chair reiterated that he considered all crypto assets and all transitions to be subject to U.S. security laws, aside from spot trading for Bitcoin. Really? Although crypto assets have yet to be officially classified, Gensler said everything other than Bitcoin is a security. In his opinion, the people behind all crypto projects and networks are furtively, what the hell is this word? Why would you use that
Furtively
word?
hidden.
Why would you but
Not
why would you use
transparent.
that word? Characterized by acting with or suggesting stealth or desire to avoid discovery. Yeah, like that's in the normal English. Come on. Trying to lure investors into buying the token. There are people behind there wasn't even a quote. That was whoever wrote this article. Shame on you for using language the general public doesn't use. There are people behind these cryptocurrencies using a variety of complex and legal opaque mechanisms. But at the most basic level, they are trying to promote their tokens and entice investors. Okay, Jaime, what's your take on that quote?
So they're trying to, it's throwing shade, really. Like it really is. It's trying to create this narrative of all these developers, all these people building these ecosystems are sneaky, and they're trying to come in at a not solve a problem. So all they want to do is print or create this token, whatever token it is, to make money. That's it. And you know what? There are bad actors doing that. But doesn't mean that the rest of them are doing that. It's like you can't just drop everyone into the same bucket. There's always bad actors in every industry. So the fact that they're trying to quote some bad actors and put the umbrella on the entire industry, that's wrong. And that's where I disagree completely that they are securities. So to me, a quick way to find out if their intention whenever they tokens launch is look for when listing. When will it be listed on Coinbase? When is it going to be listed on Binance? Those guys are clearly after money. versus someone else, like XRP's assertion. God knows if it's true or not, but their assertion is no, we're solving the banking SWIFT to replace the SWIFT system so you can have instant transactions. And they had banks testing it. So there's a different argument there. And now you question the founders. Hey, were you raising capital to develop this, or were you doing a solution? Well, it's in the court system right now, and that is going to help define quite a few the outcome of and definition of the other tokens that have a similar situation as XRP. And then you have others that develop to solve specific problems, like Ethereum, the smart contract. That's one of the things it brought to the forefront that Vitalik saw Bitcoin didn't have, because Bitcoin was built for a purpose, peer-to-peer transactions of store of value to across the internet of money, versus Vitalik's like, guys, we can use this technology to actually validate, reach consensus, make things uncensorable, make things, legal contracts, stop cheating on voting, at voting, stop cheating on this because it records the truth. If it's not signed, it didn't happen. So that's what we're seeing. And that's the question that should be asked is what drove to the creation of this token? Solve a problem or make money? And that's, that remains to be defined. But the way they wrote this, come on.
Legally opaque mechanisms, like, okay. I mean, if we want to go there, let's talk about people's like constitutional oaths that they take, and then they put laws in that are legally opaque. It's like, you mean flat out unconstitutional, and you just create so many loopholes. Like the fact that so many laws are voted in with a huge stack of papers and no one read them, that are like, well, who has time to read that? You're like that's a freaking crime right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it really is, because
you can approve shit. Like you're literally the guy who goes next, agree, next, but you're doing that as a representative of all your constituents. That's whack. Like,
it's
that's
exactly
legally
like
opaque.
every time we have to agree to terms of service, the government, the guys building the laws are going through the same crap we're doing, or making the wrong, just agree to it. We'll figure it out later. It's like, don't do that.
Don't do that, gay. Hey.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Naughty.
but yeah, that's my hot take on that too. This is kind of trash. So Gary Gensler,
Uncle Gary, from
I keep clicking on links.
Ellison's.
Why do I do that? Yeah. So Gary Gensler said in an interview with New York Mag, pretty much every sort of crypto transaction already falls under the SEC's jurisdiction, except spot transactions in Bitcoin itself and the actual purchase and sale of goods or services with cryptos. Everything other than Bitcoin. Well, I mean, at very least, he's a maxi.
Yeah. Well, he sees that everyone sees it as a commodity already. They kind of beat him to the punch. Otherwise, I wouldn't be surprised if he brought up, oh, you know who's making money? Satoshi, that motherfucker. That's why it's a security, type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he argued that at the core, these tokens are securities because there's a group in the middle, and the public is anticipating profits based on that group. Lawyer and chief policy officer at Blockchain Association, Jake Chervinsky, this guy's rad, by the way, argued that Gensler's words or opinion are not the law. On February 26, he said, the SEC lacks authority to regulate any of them until and unless it proves its case in court. Thank you for saying sensible things. For each asset, every single one individually, one at a time. Yeah, right there. So, like, until this gets proved in court for every single asset individually, case by case, you don't get to say that you have the authority to regulate them.
You can't blanket anything.
Cart before the horse, dude.
Yeah.
So man, I appreciate the fact that we have, one, Blockchain Association is rad. Two, Jake Chervinsky is speaking poignantly, concisely, and making his point. Like you can quote this over and over and over again and be the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
You can shut down so many of these like nonsense news articles and nonsense conversations happening about, I don't know what the government's going to do about this, because what he said right here is absolutely correct from a legal standpoint, right? Because
Mhm.
a lot of people forget that like we have a law of the land. The Constitution is the backbone, and everything else stacks on top of how that set things up, right?
Yep.
And so because we have a legal precedent in the Constitution, everything has to follow that pattern. And if it doesn't follow that pattern, eventually the magnet is going to turn on and it's going to pull it back to reality. And oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes rabbit. I'm done. So the notion has been echoed by SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce. That name's cool. My name is Hester Pierce. Welcome to my laboratory. Who has urged Congress to accelerate the rollout of legislation and official classification of crypto assets. Until then, regulators such as the SEC will take things into their own hands, and these enforcement actions, as they've been doing with gusto this year.
Mhm.
So using enforcement actions to tell people what the law is in emerging industry is not an efficient or fair way of regulating. Thank you.
Yes.
She said later this month in response to SEC's crackdown. Oh, nice alliteration, bud.
I think all that should be once the industry has clarity, they better reverse all these punishments that occurred prior, like because they're beating the industry over the head. I mean, there's some that,
Yeah.
yes, of course, if you did something illegal, go get them, but
Yep.
don't beat
Sorry,
the whole
Sam.
industry. Yeah. You're
Sam
right.
spanking.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Spank that, Sam.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing that bothers me most is I don't think that opportunity cost will be covered, and I don't think pain and suffering will be covered. It'll just be like back to square one, and as they say, the process is the punishment, right?
Mhm.
Just even dragging people's name through court and wasting their time with litigation. That's
And
the punishment.
resources they could be putting towards
So dumb.
development, taking it from them.
Yeah. So that's the whole SEC bit that I think is important for us to know. There's a lot of quotes in there that I think are worth us really committing to memory and bringing up recurrently, right? Specifically, this whole thing using enforcement actions to tell people what the law is in an emerging industry is not an efficient or fair way of regulating. Ugh, that's good, man. So let's see here. This article, interesting. So IMF prefers to regulate crypto than banning it outright. And
Mhm.
so IMF is India. So on the sidelines of the
Actually,
G20
it's
meeting in
International Monetary Fund.
oh, that's what it is. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
So IMF managing. See, Jaime, I need a nice smart baby boomer like yourself.
No, I
I,
just
I,
have a
I
friend
need
that
you.
worked for him. He did all of their exchange servers back
That's
in the
brilliant.
day.
IMF managing director Chris, what a name, Kristalina Georgieva. Wow, what a name. Said the agency would prefer to regulate crypto than outright ban. So, an international monetary fund would prefer to differentiate and regulate crypto assets rather than enforcing an outright ban, though the nuclear option will remain on the table for now. What? Get out of here. Speaking on the sidelines of the G20, I mean, first off, G20. Who do you think you are? But,
It's a
anyways,
club
yeah, I know. Freaking
that
pants
have and have
down,
nots.
trousers stakes out. That's like the G20. Speaking on the sidelines of the G20 financial ministers meeting in, that's a wonderful word, Bengaluru, India, IMF managing director Kristalina Georgieva, I'm saying that all wrong, explained how which with a complicated name you get it said wrong. It's how it works. Explained how the United Nations Financial Agency views digital assets and what it would like to see in terms of regulation. So, we are very much in favor of regulating the world of digital money. What? Well, I don't like you particularly. You're in favor of regulating the world.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're going global,
So
baby.
sit down. Sit down. You ain't my mama. You don't get to tell me. You don't get to tell me. During an interview with Bloomberg published on February 7th, she responded to a question on her recent comments about a potential complete ban on cryptocurrencies. Wow, what a peach. She's just fun sprinkles and rainbows. She said there was still much confusion around the classification of digital money. That's how I feel about that. Our first objective is to differentiate between central bank digital currencies that are backed by the state and publicly issued crypto assets and stablecoins. Okay, so you're a globalist. Sounds good.
Yeah, truly.
Cool globalism, bro.
They see a profit opportunity, not a
Yeah, I
revolution.
don't know, Satoshi. Real talk. Oh my goodness. So fully backed stablecoins create a reasonably good space for the economy, but non-backed crypto assets are speculative, high risk, and not money, she added. Okay, real quick here. Just at least from an American perspective, you have a right to life, liberty, and property. You have a right to own any type of property, in my opinion, constitutionally, unless it infringes on someone else's life, liberty, or property. Like, period. It's that simple. And so, like, for you to say that, like, you shouldn't be able to own certain things, you're literally defying my right to property. Is like you're like, well, we didn't approve it, and we're your overlords, so we got to tell you what you can and can't have. Like,
That's right.
are we gonna play games with people like that? I'm not playing games with people like that. I'm growing my beard out, you know. Like, by the way, one time I worked at Chick-fil-A and they told me how to shave my beard, and I hated it.
You did it? Did you do
I had to
it?
pay my insurance. I needed it.
But you know what? It was a lesson of, hey man, I can't believe they can dictate things like that.
You don't cut the lion's mane, you understand? So yeah, this I'm
You
glad I
lost your
said her
point.
name wrong. This lady, she's a hater. She's a
Okay.
hater. I mean,
Well,
pray
she
for
sees
those who
an
persecute
opportunity,
you, but like you
an
understand.
opportunity to control. That's what she sees. And her
Man,
groupies.
anyways, citing a recent paper recommending global regulation standards, she said the crypto assets cannot be legal tender because they are not backed. Well, fine, they don't have to be legal tender. They can be shit coins. I don't care. Call them what you like. However, the option to ban cryptocurrencies should not be taken off the table. Okay, buddy. If they begin to pose a greater risk to financial stability. So you're telling me that financial stability in your eyes is what my rights are
Control.
subject to. My rights are subject to your perception of financial stability. Okay. Sounds good.
Control. If they
Like
lose control,
Bitcoin exists to like oppose this type of thinking. It's like, no, it's permissionless. I don't need your permission.
they don't want to lose control. That's literally what she's saying. That if we
Well,
start
they
losing
can
control,
control their metaverse. How does that
it's not
sound?
good. Yep.
They can have their own metaverse and they could be gods in their metaverse, and that's fine. Nevertheless, good regulations, predictability, and consumer protection would be a better option. So, do you hear this? We're from the government. We're here to help. You know, we're trying to protect you. Do you see
Yeah.
the language here?
Yeah,
It'd be a better option, and banning would not need to be considered. Oh, thank you for not considering that. Wow. Even if they tried to ban Bitcoin, what would that look like? What would that look like? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
do you own the legal action in every country in the world? Do you own every ability to create power in the world? Do you own every internet gateway? I don't think you do.
Yeah. That
Praise
power
God for that. But
corrupts.
like, oh my
Power
goodness,
corrupts, and you know that's
bro.
coming if they
So when
succeed.
asked what could cause the decision to ban crypto, she said that an inability to protect consumers from rapidly evolving world of crypto assets would be the primary catalyst. Ugh, I'm like, my stomach feels gross just reading these words. The IMF, the Financial Stability Board, and the Bank of International Settlements are jointly preparing to release regulatory framework guidelines in the second half of the year. Here's my other question: why do we care what these people say? Like, who the hell elected these people?
They're paying the media to post it.
You see my point?
Yeah.
like these aren't elected officials. At least in the U.S., these aren't elected officials. So, yeah, I think they should turn to chapter 4, page 3, and refer to footnote B, D's nuts. That's what they need to see. Please, everyone in the chat, let me know what you're thinking about this specific article. Like, that's kind of jarring that they would even consider the viability of banning crypto outright because they couldn't control it. Like, what in the world?
It's part of their.
What is that, man?
You will own nothing and be happy.
World Economic Forum crap, yeah. All right. So we're looking at crypto things, right? And we actually have another interesting story from another blockchain. So this is Polygon. So Polygon hit the 157th block reorg despite hard fork to reduce reorgs. So Polygon had a hard fork to stop hard forks from happening. And it's still happening, or reorgs rather. So we're going to read this. On Wednesday, Polygon experienced a blockchain quirk affecting 157 blocks, or approximately 5 minutes worth of network activity. After blocks appeared to have stopped being produced for several minutes, the Ethereum sidechain co-founder Sandeep Nailwal tweeted that the Block Explorer Polygon scan was having some issues. Okay, fair enough. In actual fact, the interruption was down to a chain reorganization or reorg, a problem that Polygon is attempting to fix. Good on you guys. Reorgs occur when network nodes fall out of sync with each other and two distinct chains of blocks are produced concurrently. This may be due to a bug, network latency, or even malicious activity. When nodes sync once again, one canonical version of the chain is kept and the blocks included in the invalid fork are ignored. Potential consequences of reorgs can include delays in achieving transaction finality, reverted transactions, or theoretically a 51% attack on a reduced validator set. Yeah, that's no bueno. Reorgs of a few blocks are not uncommon and generally have no effect on users, but this case caused concern due to the depth of reorganization, which included 157 blocks. This could potentially have affected hundreds of users' transactions. The following day, Uniswap founder Hayden Adams publicly called out the network, referring to both Wednesday's disruption and another 120 block reorg in December. Nailwall's fellow co-founder, Halo, I can't say that, and I won't say
Just
it.
keep going.
These names stressed that this case was down to a specific bug and that current efforts are already underway to address the issue. So Hayden.eth, yeah, he called him out. Maybe a consensus algo changer, social consensus based. I keep clicking stuff. Why? This is in process in two parts. The first is already in mainnet since January, reducing the sprint size, and the next release will be around March, supporting finality in a few seconds. Yesterday's reorg was caused due to a bug, which will be fixed soon. So this is cool, actually. The fact that the devs on Polygon are actually open to answering things publicly and in a reasonable time frame, like that's really cool. And I think even if they have issues, the fact that they're owning their issues and they're just being clear about it, like that shows a level of seriousness and a level of respect to the people who use the chain. So
those are true builders right there.
Yeah. So shout outs to Hayden.eth for asking, and for John T. Kanani for being so thorough in his short, quick answer. So,
and Boston is correct on his statement. It is agile. Iterate fast.
You saw sprints. Yeah, they're
Well
shortening the sprint time. I see you. Yeah, we out here. We agile. So Polygon is as well established as popular low cost alternative to Ethereum mainnet, and it's better in my opinion. It's way better. The network saw a huge increase in its user base during the spring of 2021 as gas prices on Ethereum became exorbitant. I always say that word wrong. However, as a cheap Ethereum sidechain with less demanding users, Polygon has often faced less security scrutiny, or I'm saying this wrong, has often faced less scrutiny than layer 1 blockchains such as Solana and Avalanche. As well as lengthy reorgs, Polygon has been prone to relatively high gas fees. These can be due to spam transactions, which are cheaper to send on mainnet or blockchain based games, such as last year's Sunflower Farms, which take up significant network resources and cause congestion. And we saw that like Polygon exists because CryptoKitties clogged up the Ethereum pipes, right?
Mhm.
They were like, yeah, we got to make some solutions so this doesn't keep happening. Well, similar stuff happened on Polygon early on too with, you know,
Right. And it's
Sunflower
part of
Farms
the
and other games.
iteration. Get a product out there quickly, make the mistakes, the community participates. And I love
Yeah.
that they're open because they're open to the entire crypto sphere. So it's not like they're trying to hide their solution. Nah, we build faster as a community.
Yes. So the Polygon POS, that's proof of stake, not piece of shit, network has been upgraded. To learn more about the upgrade, check out So why did they do this? They reduced gas spikes. They were addressing reorgs. And then who did this? DApp and Matic holders are unaffected, and validators and infrastructure providers need to upgrade. Cool. I actually like this who, what, when, where, why, how kind of thing.
Mhm. I
That's
like it.
that's a nice little infographic. Noted.
You know what?
Put
Yeah,
that in my
we'll
pocket.
screenshot. Yeah. For
I'll
our own
put that in
use.
my pocket, bud. So that said, the community is addressing reorgs and gas spikes in recent discussions on Polygon forums. In January update to which Kanani referred in the above tweet aims to improve these issues. So you could throw shade at Polygon for having these types of issues to begin with, but the fact that they're quick to address them and they're transparent about how they're addressing them, hey, we did this to try to fix it, it didn't get us all the way there, here's our next plan. Like
Yep.
it's those types of reasons that I'm actually hopeful for Polygon specifically, not financial advice, but I'm seeing reoccurring stories like that where the Polygon community is just serious about what they're doing. So,
Right.
you know, I like to see that. It's
Yeah.
encouraging.
Like they say, if you focus on solving problems, the money will come, and you can see it in the price action how people are investing in it. People who understand the industry. Of course, do your own research, like Brendan well said. So
Yeah.
stay tuned.
So our last article of the day here. Let me whip it out. Whoop-ah! So whales abruptly send $215 billion in Ethereum to Coinbase and Binance as 219 billion Bitcoin transfer turns heads. So why is this much money being moved around? That's what we're going to read about, right?
Mhm.
So Ethereum and Bitcoin whales are making their presence known as BTC clings to a crucial level of support at 23K. In the last 24 hours, 3 Ethereum whales initiated massive transfers to crypto exchanges Binance and Coinbase. The first transfer sent 92,000 Ethereum worth 150, almost $151 million from an unknown wallet to Binance. The whale in question left a relatively small amount of 1,000 ETH in their wallet worth 1.6 million. So, by the way, if you want to know what people with really big pockets are doing, this
This
whale
is a good
alert,
service.
you should follow that on Twitter. Basically, this is a bot that just scans the the
The
blockchain
blockchain.
explorer, and
Yep.
whenever it sees really big transactions that meet a threshold, it just has an automatic tweet that reports out. And so as a trader, you can
Mhm.
get an understanding of, oh, there's big money being moved, they're getting into position to do something big. And so you can usually catch a big wave if you just move with the whales. So
Precisely. And then if you see huge amounts of stable coin, USDT or any of those transferring, you know there's going to be a pump coming usually. Or when you see this type of thing, it's a bearish scenario. It doesn't mean it because no one's declaring what they're going to do with this.
yeah.
That's the question that remains. But it is sus, like my son says, that it's going to the end exchange and they're leaving almost nothing in their originating wallet.
Yeah, because if they're moving a bunch of crypto, it means they have intentions of selling it. The question is, are they trying to sell it because they know they're shorting it, it's going to go down, or are they
Mhm.
looking to sell it because they know it's going to pump and they're going to grab a top and scalp everyone else and rip it back down, right? So
Mhm.
I don't know. I do not know the answer for you. Okay. But you want to pay attention because otherwise it means something's going down. So yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of this article, but I did want to just bring up this specific topic that we should be paying attention right now. There's a lot of money specifically in ETH
And Bitcoin.
and so there's going to be a big move either up or down. And like what Jaime shared today with his charts, tomorrow's a big day, and this is indicative that they think so too. So that is our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us here on Crypto and Coffee. We'll be back on Wednesday, the same time, 9 a.m. Eastern. Until then, keep calm, hodl on. Join us in the Discord. Any questions, hit me up in our community Discord, and I'll be quick to answer. If it's a good enough question, I might even make a short. Anyways, later, love you. Bye.
Take care, guys.
Good work. Bye. Okay.
Wednesday, we'll see what happened with this Bitcoin and Ethereum that moved.